What's going on, everybody? We finally have our first reveal trailer of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I can't wait to dive into this thing and kind of show you guys some things that you may miss and just talk about every little small detail within this trailer. If you're excited about this movie, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Mario movie and Nintendo in general. So let's dive into this trailer. First off, we get a look at a brand new kingdom, and somewhere in the snow and ice, as you can see the northern lights in the sky and the giant ice city in the background. Then we get to see Bowser's castle fly in, or in this case, really Bowser's giant lava island, and is being propelled in the air from like lava pillars shooting from the island itself. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen Bowser's castle move like this before. We get a look at the front of Bowser's Island / castle, and it has a giant statue of Bowser's head, which we've seen in very many Mario games. And of course, it is a reference probably to the Paper Mario games, as the very first Paper Mario game for the 64 actually had Bowser's castle, well technically a piece of Bowser's castle and Peach's castle together, rise up into the sky. Then we get to see the Ice / Snow Kingdom in its full glory. You get to see the little towers with the little flags on them, and obviously the entire Ice City, which by the way looks really good. Well, that is until Bowser destroys it, and we get to see the inhabitants of the city in a second. But this shows that we're probably going to have other kingdoms, because Bowser's trying to take power stars from multiple different kingdoms, and probably the Mushroom Kingdom is his last one on his journey. Then see Bowser's floating island drop the anchors and start crashing down on the kingdom itself. We get an aerial view of Bowser's island, and once again you can tell it's more of a giant fortress island, and his castle is probably built into the volcano in the background, where you can see yet again another statue of Bowser's head spewing lava down a giant lava waterfall. You can also see some bridge walkways and also some towers towards the back, which is probably where the openings and the entrances to the castle are. We then get a reveal of Kamek, which she looks a lot skinnier in this movie compared to normally in the video games, but still looks just like Kamek, and even has a pretty good voice in my opinion. Kamek is voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, and you probably heard him in things like The Cleveland Show, Gravity Falls, Teen Titans Go, and even Madagascar as good friend to King Julian, Maurice. So he definitely does change up his voice a lot to play Kamek in this movie, because it definitely does not sound like him in my opinion. One cool detail is when Kamek always uses his purple and pink magic, he always has different colored shapes with his wand, even in the video games, so it's really cool to see that little Easter egg hidden here as well. Now moving on to Bowser's army, they all seem to be Koopa Troopas. Yep, no Goombas in sight, even though we see some other type of enemies in the future, but they all seem to be red and green, besides the one in the right in the very front. He's a paratroopa, and so is the one on the left, but the right one actually is blue. He has blue shoes and a blue shell, and even spikes coming out of their shell. It's funny because we have never seen a blue spiked shell Koopa Troopa ever, but we do have that item within Mario Kart, which goes after first place, which is funny because like now we're getting the origins of this Koopa Troopa within a movie, which is hilarious. If you also notice that blue-shelled Koopa Troopa seems to have something around its neck and almost look like it's a special variant, as it's in the front as well, and it's a lot thicker and bigger than the rest. It just looks like he's more stronger, and he's kind of like maybe the leader of the army outside of Kamek. And it also could go for the same one on the left, because he also is a paratroopa with special spiked shoulder pads as well. Closest we've got is actually from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door to anything like this. We had Crawls, which were just kind of like bandits, and I guess they were technically Koopa Troopers or some type of hawks or birds that looked like Koopa Troopas, but they also had spears. And then we had the Koopa Trolls, which were Koopa Troopas with tons of, knight armor on them. So maybe this is kind of a blend of that. And of course, some of them have spears that just have Bowser's flag on them. They're just there for support. Then of course we have Jack Black as Bowser coming out, and he sounds absolutely great. Just a big ruffy voice for Bowser, which will always work for his character. We get an overhead look at the army, and it looks like some of the army is actually carrying bullet bill cannons, which could cause some devastation even though they didn't even need them at all. Then we get to see two Koopa Troopa army members up close, and one of them is like hiding cowardly in his shell. He's clearly scared and doesn't really need to be, but I can't tell if it's just the lighting of Bowser's castle that makes him look like he has a yellow shell, but we have seen yellow Koopa Troopas, and once again, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and the one with the eye patch just reminds me of the KP Troopers from that game, so it's really cool that they're referencing like a Mario RPG if anything. Then we get to see the doors open, and yep, it's a penguin kingdom. This is their territory and they're gonna fight for it. These are the penguins from Mario 64, so it's really cool seeing them here. Unfortunately, there's no big ones, it's just like all the baby small ones, which is funny. All I'm saying is Bowser or Mario better toss one of these penguins off a cliff, or it's just a huge missed opportunity. Penguins then start chucking snowballs at Bowser and an army, and you can just see Bowser stare at the one snowball that hits him and then slowly look back at them. It's hilarious. Unfortunately, one Koopa Troopa gets blasted by a giant snowball and it knocks him all the way back, which is also very funny. We also get a closer look at the blue Paratroopa in this scene, and they have blue spikes on their helmet as well, but I don't see the wings on this Paratroopa anymore. I don't know if it's just tucked behind them and it's just awkward to see at this angle, but a blue spiked Paratroopa or a Koopa Troopa is still really cool to finally get revealed what they are. You can also see one of the Koopa Troopas lift his eye patch up in the back to see if he's okay. Yep, clearly he doesn't need that eye patch. There then seems to be a scene skip that we don't get to see because the penguins seem to try to invade the Koopa Troopas as the king of the penguins is being held hostage and kind of like in a chokehold from one of the Koopa Troopas' spears. Poor king. Then for some reason there's a scene of Kamek using her powers to move all the penguins out of the way and the king's there, so I don't really know what order of events these things are taking place. But then the Koopa Troopas come in with their spears in order to put them all under arrest and hold them hostage. Looking at the ice castle door, we have a picture of a star, which might mean Bowser needs to go around collecting power stars from each kingdom in order to power himself up in some specific way. Maybe that's why he can shoot this giant massive laser fire breath we see in a second, but it's cool to see that little detail. Bowser then ruthlessly shoots fire at the entire castle, breaking it down and crumbling it completely, I guess to finally get inside and get the power star. So yeah, instead of just walking through the front gate and finding it, he said, I'm just gonna burn this whole thing down. I've never really seen Bowser shoot fire like this outside of Bowser's Fury, which gave him a mega laser when he was in his Fury mode, and it's kind of the same thing here. Then see Bowser standing over a power star, and clearly he needs to collect power stars for some reason, and taking out this Ice Kingdom was his way of getting this one, so he probably needs one from the Mushroom Kingdom as well. Then see Mario fly into the Mushroom Kingdom through a pipe, and if you look closely at the wall where the pipe is, you'll notice another star symbol on the wall, which probably indicates it's a very important kingdom that homes a power star, just like the one we've seen on the ice door. So I'm wondering if other kingdoms are going to make an appearance, maybe like Sarasaland, because there were rumors that Daisy was going to appear, and even like the little sticker that we've seen in the poster that had Daisy symbol, so who knows. Of course, we have Chris Pratt's Mario, and it just sounds like Chris Pratt when he talks, with maybe a slight Brooklyn accent, but Mario's outfit is very detailed. You can see all the denim pockets and buttons on his overalls, and he even has a little collar on his shirt, along with shoestrings on his boots. When Mario flies in and bounces off the mushrooms, you can see him lay beside a yellow butterfly that then flies away. This is actually a direct reference to the end of Super Mario Galaxy. The same color and design of butterfly as well, which is a really neat Easter egg. Mario of course gets up and starts looking around at everything near him and wondering where the heck he's even at. If you look closely in the overhead shot, you can even see some Cheep Cheeps swimming in the nearby river, which is a really neat detail. There are birds in Mario games, and Mario Odyssey for instance has tons of these little white doves that look like they're exactly the same thing we see in this movie. You can also see a small red and green Bidybud walking side by side through the mushroom forest as well. Mario then runs into Toad for the first time and hears a very familiar sound. Yes, we may have heard this sound before with past Mario enemies, but I believe this sound originates from stomping on a Strollin' Stew in Super Mario Sunshine. Listen. Yep, it's a pretty specific reference. I've seen online a couple people think it could be the sound of jumping on a Wiggler from Mario Galaxy, but I have to look into this further. We get to see Toad, and Toad has a book bag full of all type of stuff, some type of mug, a towel, and looks like he has a stick with him. Toad also seems to have a lot of detail put into him, and not just his towel and his book bag and his little shirt, but also his pants. He's got little drawstrings hanging from them. And he has teeth. Why did I pause on this? And of course, Keegan-Michael Key is the voice of Toad, which he is a well-known comedian, and it's just hilarious to me because it sounds like they just took his voice and tuned it up to be extremely high-pitched, but it works so well for Toad in this movie. We then see Mario and Toad running for the Mushroom Kingdom, and of course Toad is always fast in all the games, so he's taking off and flying away from Mario. I pointed some of this stuff out in the poster, but I'll point it out again. Many of the hills still have the same stripe and zigzag line patterns from the games, and even the different color hills as well. Get another look at Peach's castle, and once again it looks very familiar to that of Super Mario Odyssey's. It's just now pink, and it added some extra things towards the top. We then see the logo, and of course it is modeled after the Super Mario Bros. Logo with the same colors on Mario. The trailer then ends with Luigi being chased by Dry Bones, and this time they don't have their friendly looking yellow eyes, they're like red, beady, kind of zombified eyes, and they're chasing them through some type of haunted looking woods. Their eyes almost remind me that of Dry Bowser, and they're more red and glowy, but our boy Luigi is in trouble here, and it actually makes me think that maybe Mario got sent to the Mushroom Kingdom. When Luigi arrived to this world, he was placed near Bowser's castle, because you can see that's where he's running very soon. Of course, Mario's brother Luigi is being played by Charlie Day, known for Monsters University, Pacific Rim franchise, and of course the Lego movie. As Luigi's running away, you can see Bowser's castle in the back, or maybe it's just one of many Bowser castles. It's hard to tell right now because we definitely didn't see anything like this from his initial island. So maybe that floating island was really just his ship, his way of getting around and taking over kingdoms, and then he comes back to this castle in this area. Oh yeah, and you can see Bowser's little flag hanging from the castle. Something else that's funny is you can see some Dry Bones tripping and falling and their heads popping off and chasing after Luigi still, even without their bodies. You can still see Luigi running away from them, jumping over lava, and making his way inside some doors where he's trying to push them back. Just funny because this scene gives me extreme Luigi's Mansion vibes, and it just shows that maybe eventually we could even get a Luigi's Mansion movie kind of just on him. That is the end of the Mario movie trailer. There was so much to unpack here, so if you really loved this analysis, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you can stay up to date on all things Super Mario Bros. Movie and Nintendo in general. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys caught something that I may have missed. Thank you guys for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.